As you can see by my jersey, I'm not really wearing any football jersey. I'm wearing a football jersey. It's one of those things that I get excited about. We have a DVR at the house, and well, can we rate some of these matches? No, I like that match. I like that team, so I got to keep those teams. Something else that maybe not come as a shock to you is this. And it won't come as a shock because if you've been around me a little bit, I get accused of this often, and rightfully so. I talk about this quite frequently. I like to fish. I know it's not a shock, but it's one of those things that I don't remember yesterday or the day before I put on Facebook something about if I'm stressing out too much it's because I haven't been fishing enough. And there's something about that for me that is very nice. I get to sit and be in God's cathedral. To me it's the most phenomenal cathedral there is in the world. To sit and be there in the creation that God designed for us. I gotta put this disclaimer in here. I am not, by a long shot, the best fisherman out there. There are people that know way more than I do, way smarter than I am, that actually go on and look and study and learn all these things, you know, especially when you get into some of the trout components. Well, this time of season you use this fly. This time you have to do this. You have 14 different variations of this. I'm like, nope, not my. It's not my grade, but I do enjoy fishing. I enjoy getting out there. I'm not to the point in my fishing career that I'm arrogant. I know other people know more than I do. One of the reasons why I go on a charter every couple of years is not because I like to pay $250 for fish I can catch, but I like to pay $250 to see, okay, what's the new thing out there that I haven't learned yet. We were out with her dad and cousin, I think, is who it was. And we were watching this charter, as literally we're in the same drift, same line, going by and going. Why in the world did they keep nailing the fish and we're not? We had the same hookup. The only difference was their weights were painted fluorescent pink. Our weights were gray. Guess what? My weights are now all painted. Fluorescent yellow, fluorescent pink, and I actually have a glow-in-the-dark spray that I sprayed on them also. So on a run out, we put them out. And I learned that from watching somebody who knows more about me, about fishing than I do. They're just like, hey, they do better than I do. There's something they're doing that I'm not. Learn from them. I watch others on the river and the ocean. It's the same thing. Why are they catching? What is their line? What is their leader length? What is the fly color pattern that they're using? I love having conversations with others. What lures to you? It's fun when Shanae goes out because he's always taking me, I'm going to try this thing out. I'm like, okay. And he's always trying some different lure. And even last summer he got a spay rod, which is a big, long ocean fishing rod. So he's out there stripping it, trying to get, he got some hits on it. I don't think he got anything in on it, but he got some hits on it just experimenting with trying his own flies and thinking, that could be an interesting jump into having more fun and learning how to do different things. Some of the conversations I get with people fishing are pretty funny because they come in with this attitude and almost arrogance of, I know how to fish. I don't remember how many years ago, we were fishing the Russian, it was just Polly and I that day. And later on I learned he was from the East Coast, Connecticut, if I remember correctly. And the fishing was good. There's sometimes when you go and you just get lucky and you get fish. And there's sometimes it doesn't matter how bad you are, if you're in the right line, you'll get fish. This is one of those. We're sitting there, and the rules in the river are this. If I hook a fish and I land it, then I get to step back into my spot on the river after I put it on the string. It's kind of the rules that we have on the river. It's kind of an unwritten law. Well, this older gentleman, I don't remember his name, this older gentleman was from Connecticut and didn't know our rules. Polly was in a great spot, we call it catching corner. And Polly was in a great spot and having all sorts of fun. And I was up above the corner a little bit, catching corner. All of a sudden, like, oh yeah, it was literally just a couple casts. It was that good, and I had everything set up actually right for once. And went boom, within 5 minutes, had a fish on, bank him, landed. Well, the old gentleman said, fish are right there. So he literally flies up the river, probably about 5 to 8 people that was upriver. He slides upriver into my hole. I'm thinking, boy, you left a spot that's a better fishing spot than where I was. I'm going to slide down into your hole. And literally it was like 3 or 4 casts later, boom, I nailed the second one. The limit that day was only 3. So I nailed my second one. And the old man's kind of watching me. He's kind of getting a little scowly on his face. So he steps from my hole upriver, and he slides back to his original hole. Well, I go, fine, I'm going to slide back up to my original hole. And then a couple minutes later, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 minutes later, I hit my third one. And I banked it, and I go, I don't really care where he slides, I can't fish anymore. So I'm sitting there on the bank, and I'm just watching Polly and enjoying, again, the cathedral of God. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see the old man walking towards me, and I'm thinking, well, this could be interesting. Where's this going to go? And he goes, excuse me, I got 2 questions for you. Okay, sure, what are they? But, he's actually approaching me fairly nice and not swearing at me, which I've had done before on the river. And he comes up to me and says, why are you catching the fish? You use some superlatives in here. Why are you catching the fish but I'm not? I said, well, sir, you stand right where the fish are running. One of the problems in the Russian is people stand out too far in the river. Because he's too far, he's actually chasing the fish in the faster water outside, and he can't catch them. Said, your leader is too long. You got to shorten up your leader. You don't have enough weight. You still need yourself down. No, I said, well, let me change those. So I took out my nets and changed and set them up right and hooked up. And he goes, now the second question is, can you help me get this hook out of my thumb? I said, what the heck happened? He goes, well, when you hit that last, excuse my language, when you hit that last damn fish, I got so mad, I jerked my hook, and then I had put my head up and I hooked myself with my thumb. Yeah, let me take care of that for you. We always carry athletic tape in our vest. And so I popped the hook. Luckily the bar hadn't gone in. It was right here in the beat of the thumb. Luckily the bar hadn't gone in there, so I was able to pull it back and work it out. We taped him up and I said, okay, and he goes, can you kind of coach me here a little bit? So I kind of got him back into his hole where he was, and he did a fish, and he was so excited. It was like, cool. That time Polly was done, and we went sliding, and off we went. It's one of those things. I wouldn't say that my conversation was life transformational with the old gentleman, but it changed him. From arrogant to thankful, from no fish and sputtering and muttering, because he told me, well, I fish all the time. I fish on the East Coast, all I fish in the season. So this is different fishing. If I went to the East Coast, I wouldn't have any other fishing. This is our world. This is going from no fish to fish. In reality, it was kind of this intimate conversation that he and I had. I got to know a lot about his personality. I know he had a short temper. Because it was blowing, and then when I got my third fish, even though he was going from his hole to my hole to his hole, still not catching, and I was done. Just his personality. This idea that you can do anything. In everything that we do, we can share and live Christ. I didn't ever once say, well, here it is with God. But just in responding to them in a proper manner way is easy to do. Imagine the intimate conversation Jesus had with Simon and the transformation we look at that happens with him. This is out of Luke 5. Once when he was standing on the shore of Lake Gennesaret, it's also called Sea of Galilee, is what we call it. It's really just a big lake. The crowd was pushing in on him to better hear the word of God. He noticed 2 boats tied up. The fishermen had just left them and were out scrubbing their nets. He climbed into a boat that was Simon's and asked them to put out a little from shore. Sitting there using the boat for a pulpit, he taught the crowd. When he finished speaking, he said to Simon, push out into the deep water and let your nets out for a catch. Simon said, Master, we've been fishing hard all night and haven't caught even a minnow. But if you say so, I'll let out our nets. No sooner done than a huge haul of fish straining the net to capacity. They waved to the partners in the other boats to come and help them. They filled both of their boats, nearly swamping them with a catch. Simon Peter, when he saw it, fell to his knees before Jesus and said, Master, leave me. I'm a sinner and can't handle this holiness. These meats in ourselves. When they pulled in that catch, on overwhelmed, Simon and everyone else. It was the same with James and John, the sons of Zebedee, co-workers of Simon. Jesus said to Simon, there's nothing to fear from now on. You'll be fishing for men and women. He pulled up the boats on the beach, left them, nets and all, and followed. This intimate conversation about a simple thing of fishing. Sometimes we think this intimate conversation, as we looked at last week with the woman at the well, has to be this deep and profound component of struggle, of wrestling, of coming before God to be transformed. But here's an intimate conversation with Jesus that Simon Peter and James and John had that transformed their lives in the simple place of in their everyday life. The progression of the conversation. We obviously can see from Scripture that they knew each other. Verse 5 says, Simon said, Master. He knew who Jesus was. Jesus couldn't have got on his boat if he didn't know who he was. From where Jesus grew up, where historically, and we know from digs, where Simon Peter's house is about 1.5 miles, 2 miles across from Nazareth. And Simon Peter's house is just to the north of that, around the lake. So they knew each other. There was this intimate relationship. Fishermen were already cleaning their nets. They went out early in the morning because being in Israel once, we were there in the cool time. It was 80 to 90, and that's the cool season. Something a little bit. I'm never coming to the hot one. It died at 80 to 90. We always went on our tours of the old city where our hotel was. We had about 3 or 4 block walk when we were walking in the gate of the old city. And we would do that in the morning. In the afternoon, the heat of the day, because we were all, I wasn't in Alaska, but I felt like in Alaska at that point. We were all inside the hotel where it was cooler. We were doing inside things at that point. These guys have been out fishing since early in the morning. Sea Galley Lake, kids are at, you only fish on the northern third of the lake. The bottom third, or bottom 2/3, you don't fish. So they only fish in that section of the lake. And they were already cleaning their nets, and that way they could get them to market. You catch fish and you leave fish out. Hey. We sometimes will have bait fish in the boat and we didn't see it get behind the cooler. It's been a warm day or whatever, like, man, there's some fish out somewhere. Bait. You gotta find it. You see whatever there is around. But it's one of those things that for these guys, that's why they had to do it. They had to get their fish in the morning and then they had to go get it to the market because otherwise it would go bad. This intimate conversation, even as Jesus spoke from the boat, we don't know what he said. But something happened. And Simon, as he's listening there, and if you've been in a boat, you know you have to keep moving. It's not like you have an electric motor or gas motor. So they had to row it. And they rowed to keep Jesus close to the shore. And listening to the words. Changes. Jesus shared from the heart. And Jesus, I love the interaction between Jesus and Simon Peter. Push out in the deeper water, that's your net out for a catch. Jesus already knew from their conversation, from being around them, they hadn't thought of it. Simon Peter, I love that it shows there was a part of a relationship there. Because he says, Master, we've been fishing hard all night, haven't caught even a minnow. But if you say so, I'll let up in it. A little sarcastic. I kind of like Simon Peter that way, because I have sarcasm in me. Shut up, man. Poor Kylie stands no chance against Toby and I when we get home. Because we can be sarcastic and she doesn't even touch me. But Simon Peter's a little bit, but if you say so, I'll let up in it. Whatever. Come on, guys, this Jesus guy says we got to go fishing. And it's all right. I know we didn't catch anything. We get that. intimacy that I don't really understand, I don't trust you 100%, but if you say so, I'll give it a shot. There's something about the way you spoke that transforms me. Those words led to action, to put their next to it. Verse 8, when he saw it, fell to his knees. How many people realize that Jesus, whether it goes to the time of day you're not supposed to catch fish, and not only fill the boat, but also the place to start. Give them such a bounty of fish when you're like, oh, no time. I have got way more than I thought. Think about your own life. Those intimate conversations with God. How many times do we do like Simon? Yeah, okay, God, I've done this before, I've shared before, I've tried this before, but you say so, let's go one more time, whatever. But there was something in Simon that was transformational. In this conversation with God, he went, okay, there was a heart difference. I've tried before, but this time I'm going to try, not from my head, but I'm going to try from my heart. I'm going to live out and even respond. You see in the end verse, they pulled their boats up on the beach, left their nets, and all. Can you imagine your husband coming home and saying, let's see this. By the way, I quit my job and I'm no longer working. He's like, yes, pretty much, I'm good. But it's one of those things that I'm going to go do this other stuff right now. Counseling session over there later. But it's this imagery that they have been changed so much from a conversation of listening to Jesus as he shared from their buddies. Listening to Jesus as he said, cast your nets into deeper water. Seeing the results of the fish that almost swamped their boat. They had to call in the other boat to pull it up. I've never had to call another boat over to help me get fish in my boat. That's never happened. I would like it to happen. That'd be a kick in the rear. But that's never happened. But that's what happens to you. Simon Louis protested had faith. Trusted in Christ. Saw the power of Christ in the words that he spoke in the book. In his actions. Saw and caught more fish than these professional fishermen have never done. But they swamped their boat. And he answered the call of Christ in their lives. Drop their nets not to be fishers of fish, but fishers of people. This is an example of the first disciples of Christ. They didn't have those people. They were transformed and changed and said, you know what, I'm going to give up everything I know to follow what God says. It was something that was foreign to them, something that was new, something they hadn't seen before, and yet they said, I've seen the power of God. We have it in Jesus. We've been transformed, being changed from the inside out. They trusted Christ in many ways. Because it was a simple conversation. Hey, can you use your boat? Use it. Can I use your boat? Not to say it's small, thank you, I want to catch your net. You're doing everything. There's no fish, you probably go to the top of the water. To the point that caused them to trust Christ in their life. How do we respond when God has a intimate conversation with us? An intimate conversation does not mean it has to be this heavy, serious, massive battle that we're struggling with. This intimate conversation can be as simple as, will you pray for this person? Will you help this person out? Will you talk with this person about life? And in those conversations, hopefully, we share Christ. It may not be in my words, but we share Christ, just as we look at the woman at the well. Christ didn't say anything until she brought it up. And then he introduced it to them. The grace and the mercy and the love of Christ should impact us, impact me. The song we sang this morning, we were overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed by you. But I'm overwhelmed by your mercy. Are we? We have those intimate conversations with God through the day. And this morning, as I was looking out the window and looking towards the mountains, I thought, oh my gosh, yeah, it's 7:30. This is time. It's amazing the changes. We sing a song, turn to thank the clouds. That's an intimate conversation. And we're joking on Friday, oh, blizzard, it's not refilling. I do. It was a joke, but it's going to say, hey, God's coming in to pick up his message. You live in life. Intimate conversation with God doesn't have to be this deep. Life transformation is important. But to have more intimate conversations. And I guarantee you, Simon and Jesus have had conversations before. He knew how that scripture was not. And the one on the quote. Will we have that conversation with God? In our journey, in our life. And we have it. God, help us to have that intimate conversation with you. God, it's not as scary as often as we make it. God, sometimes we think, oh my gosh, I don't know how to start. Even when we watch the effort and the words of Simon Peter, God, get away from me. I'm a sinner, I'm broken, I'm so screwed up. And a couple verses later, they beach their boat and they walk with Christ. God, help us to not doubt, for that doubt is a faith in your faith. God, help us to be closer to you and farther from ourselves. And help us to not buy into what the world says, but help us to buy into the conversations that we do today. God, you call us to a place of